Blood blurred my vision, warm and metallic as it dripped down my cheek. My shoulder hung uselessly at my side, bone out of socket. I staggered across the asphalt toward the base gate, boots dragging, every step a fight against gravity. Behind me, I heard my sister's voice, flat, cold, rehearsed. "You should have signed the mortgage." Her husband stood just beyond the shadows, fists still curled, his breathing steady, satisfied. My own blood stained his knuckles. That's what my family thought of me. That was what my loyalty was worth. I made it to the gate, palms slamming against the steel. Guards rushed forward. I opened my mouth to speak but only managed 2 words before the world tilted and went black. "Help me." I first met Marcus, my brother-in-law, 7 years earlier. He was the kind of man who shook your hand too hard, the kind who laughed louder than necessary to cover the insecurity in his eyes. My sister swore he was a go-getter, a man who would build a life for her. I wanted to believe her. For her sake, I did. He called me brother, bought me drinks, asked about my deployments with a kind of rehearsed admiration. I thought he respected me. But respect has a way of unraveling quietly. It started with small requests. "Could you co-sign this car loan? Just a formality." I refused. He smiled too quickly, like he had expected it. Months later, it was a credit card, then a business venture. Each time, I told him no. Not because I didn't want to help, but because I could see the truth in his eyes. Desperation dressed as ambition. My sister would look at me with disappointment, like I had betrayed her instead. Then came the mortgage. A house they couldn't afford, a future they couldn't maintain. They wanted me to put my name, my career, my clearance on the line for them. I refused again. That was when the phone calls stopped. The visits ended. My sister's voice grew colder. Until the night on base, when Marcus stepped out of the dark and made his answer clear, with his fists. Lying in the infirmary, shoulder reset, stitches burning across my brow, I stared at the ceiling tiles and felt something shift inside me. Not rage, not grief, calculation. They had drawn blood. Now it was my turn. The first step was silence. I didn't confront them. I didn't call. I let them believe I was too humiliated to speak. Meanwhile, I started digging. Marcus's business ventures were paper castles, debts layered on debts, accounts drained, credit maxed. He was drowning, and my sister was shackled to him by choice. I reached out to a friend in finance, quietly. We traced Marcus's loans, the defaults, the shady transfers. I built a file thicker than my service record, every page a nail for his coffin. Next, I called in a favor from JAG, nothing formal, just a conversation about what happens when a civilian assaults active-duty personnel on base property. Words like federal charge and jurisdiction slid across the table. Marcus hadn't just hit me, he'd walked into a battlefield he didn't understand. Still, I waited. Timing mattered. Weeks later, Marcus showed up at a family barbecue. He smirked at me across the yard, beer in hand, my sister glued to his side. "You heal up fine, soldier?" he asked. I smiled back. Calm, controlled. "Better than you will." He laughed, but I saw the flicker in his eyes. The trap closed on a Tuesday. Sheriffs arrived at their door with warrants. Fraud, assault, outstanding debt collection. The house they fought so hard for? Seized. His business accounts? Frozen. And just when Marcus thought it couldn't get worse, military police stepped in. Assault on a service member on base. A charge that carried weight he couldn't laugh off. My sister called me, voice shaking for the first time in years. "Why are you doing this? He's my husband." I let silence stretch until it hurt. Then I answered, "He made himself my enemy." Court was swift. Marcus's swagger disintegrated under the weight of evidence. I sat in the back row, suit pressed, stitches healed, arms strong again. He glanced at me once, eyes wide with the realization that this wasn't about a mortgage. It was about power, respect, survival. The judge read his sentence. Years, not months. Restitution he could never pay. My sister wept beside him, clutching a man already slipping from her grasp. The night after the verdict, I stood outside the courthouse, cool air filling my lungs. People talk about revenge like it's fire, like it burns you too. They're wrong. It's ice. Clean, precise. It freezes the rot, makes it brittle, then shatters it piece by piece. Marcus thought he could bleed me for his debts. Instead, I made him pay with everything he had left. And my sister? She chose her side long ago. She can live with it. As for me, I walked away lighter, because justice isn't given, it's taken.